Who doesn't like attention यार? अभी 4 लोग एक पार्टी में जावे तो 4 लोग ऐसे करते हैं जाके तो गंदा बोले बुरा बोले पर ऐसे देखते हैं. I love it. I just love it.
It was fucked up.
Yeah, how you concentrate? Like, I can't imagine. Maro.
I think you're very sexy.
Oh my god, thank you.
For the most part, I'm attracted to men, but there is a part of me that likes women also, dude. I mean,
I think every girl does.
Yeah, women are so beautiful. It's ridiculous. This is wild.
Woo! Uncancellable with Uorfi. Hi guys, this is Uorfi Javed and you are watching Uncancellable with Uorfi. And today we have like मतलब बहुत special guest है. अब मेरे couch पे बैठे हैं तो special ही होंगे ना सबके सब. Of course. So here we have Trinetra.
Hello, it's so good to be here.
She's a queer icon.
Thank you.
She's the moment. She's the legend. Love you, Trinetra. What's up?
Love you. How are you?
So Trinetra was just asking me what's up with this Nanga Naach? I was just telling her that I told her like a politician, she filed a FIR against me and she said कि ये Nanga Naach यहाँ नहीं चलेगा.
Yeah.
So then I made these t-shirts and I like started selling it.
Best. You know what? Take the hate and monetize it. There is no better strategy and I love you for it. I think you're fucking awesome.
Like even in your case, even in general trans people also or LGBTQ community, I've heard a lot of people in power make very weird statements.
Oh yeah.
Which is just like,
can't
you just educate yourself?
Yeah.
Like what are your thoughts on it?
I feel like, I remember someone was like, ये तो नामर्द है. Something like that, you know, ये तो हिजड़ा है. As if it's like this insult. Like, you know, तुमने मर्द होके जिंदगी में क्या उखाड़ लिया?
Exactly.
What have you done with your life, having been so-called normal? Are you a doctor? No. Are you an actor? No. What have you done?
Who are you?
Man, I have to just say this. You are an inspiration.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And I know you get this a lot, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because, you know, there is a certain pretense in the industry to be aloof, that you don't really care about what people think, and you really don't care about the views and the likes. You are so like on your, I'm doing it for the attention, and I like that. And I'm getting what I want from it, and that's who I am. Take it or leave it. And that is just... That honesty is
Who
rare.
doesn't like attention यार? अभी 4 लोग एक पार्टी में जाओ ऐसे 4 लोग ऐसे करते हैं जाके तो गंदा बोले बुरा बोले पर ऐसे देखते हैं. I love it. I just love it. So did you start transitioning before the MBBS school?
No, yaar, when I got into MBBS, this was in 2015. I was 18 years old. I didn't know shit. I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew that I was uncomfortable in my skin. I don't know why. You know, because everybody has insecurities and you just think that, okay, if I lose weight, if I do this, if I do that, it'll be fine. But it took a long time to figure out that there is a gender situation involved here. And I think 3rd year was when I was like, okay, I get it. I know what I need to do. And between 3rd and 4th year is when I had the surgery.
3rd and 4th year?
Yeah.
While you were studying?
Yeah.
It must be like really...
It was fucked up.
How you concentrate? Like, I can't imagine.
I mean, you know, at that point, it wasn't an option because a lot of people look at the surgery that a trans person has and they're just like, you know, you chose this and all of that. But for me, it wasn't a choice. For me, it was very simple. I will either continue being so uncomfortable that I choose to end my life or I will be happy.
And you chose happiness.
I chose happiness.
Can you educate the audience and me about it? I'm just intrigued, like how much of a work it is. जितना लोग easy बोलते हैं कि एक surgery करा के हो गया, उतना है नहीं. I know it's difficult. You have to keep taking hormonal pills and then there's other things.
So the thing is, you know, every person, whether trans or otherwise, has a certain level of comfort with their bodies, right? So the discomfort that a trans person has with their body because of their gender identity is called gender dysphoria.
Gender dysphoria, yeah.
Hanji. And that is a diagnosis which a psychiatrist has to make first. And once you've got that diagnosis, you can go about, you know, doing things to address it. And that depends on how much like discomfort you have with your body. There are people who are born very naturally feminine looking and they're just lucky, so they perhaps won't have itna discomfort. But there are people who are in their 30s and 40s and who didn't have the knowledge, right? And so you fully lived your life as a man for so long, so your body has also been through that. So they may perhaps look more masculine and need more intervention if they feel that discomfort. So it's very subjective ki kaun kya karta hai, and there's no like standard number of things ki this is what you need to do.
Okay.
But something that I was of course uncomfortable with was my genitalia and my chest and other parts of my body. And the most common thing that a trans person will do first is go and see a hormones doctor or an endocrinologist. A hormones doctor or an endocrinologist will help you reduce the male hormones and increase the female hormones, which changes your body on its own, and the rest can be addressed with surgery if you need it. You'd look at yourself in the mirror and jaise puberty hoti hai na, dheere dheere. So it felt like that I would look at myself and slowly over time be able to see someone I could recognize with a lot of clarity. For me even now, even though I've had everything done already and I'm that much happier, and I've had breast implants, and I was telling you earlier also, there will always be some scenario where you will still feel like you're not enough. मैं अभी भी phone उठाती हूँ, they will call me sir, no matter, because they can't see me. So with my voice is a husky sound. The thing is, I have, like, now I know to be happy with it. But I realize that no matter what I do, there will always be people jinke liye I will be mardana, and it's fine, But again, I get this a lot. Okay, people will ask me, is this what womanhood means to you, Trinetra? Like,
boobs.
Yeah. That, you're the one that's constantly talking about feminism and how, womanhood should mean more.
This is an interesting question.
Yeah, that womanhood you keep saying is not about the genitals, it's not about the body, it's not about the colors. But then tumne to karaya na, ye wo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have long hair, you wear pink, you do everything that is considered traditionally feminine. So like, you're such a fucking hypocrite. And it's confusing, but at the same time, for me, it's not just about associating big tits to womanhood. It's not about that. It's about feeling like this is matching the rest of my body, that this is feeling aesthetic, it's feeling proportionate. And at the end of the day, sure, maybe it's also associated to a traditional idea of womanhood, but वो conditioning में 100% तो नहीं हटा
सकती. But to each its own.
And to each their own, if it makes you happy.
मेरा idea कुछ और है feminism का या feminine body का, तो किसी का कुछ और होगा, which I feel is okay. But what about your dating life now? Like, how difficult it is to date as a trans person anywhere, chalo, not just Mumbai, anywhere, on dating sites, like what have your experiences been? As a straight woman also, I'm telling you, it's not easy.
I think very similar in the sense that, I'm a very giving person. Like, matlab dil khol ke, very unabashedly, no matter what is happening. I was in the hospital and shooting for Made in Heaven at the same time. Wow. And I didn't care. Like, I would still make the time, and for whoever I was seeing at the time, who totally didn't deserve it, but
His loss.
But I'm that person, who will go out of my way to make someone feel appreciated and special. But if it's not reciprocated, to chhod do. If it's not even acknowledged, then that starts to become hurtful. And I feel like in this culture of dating apps, where everybody and everything is kind of replaceable.
They are.
There's always, someone better and someone who can offer more. And people have kind of lost the ability to work on something, in the sense that everything has to be served on a platter to you, which I have also been guilty of. I'm sure we all have been at some point. You also, why settle, why compromise, all of that. So I think that certain fundamentals, if they're taken care of, the love, the respect, all of that, everything else can be worked on. And now it's just become more complicated because I'm also visible to many people.
So, but like, what is the scene right now?
I'm single.
You're single?
Are you
on dating apps and everything?
I am. There was a time where I would use a dating app obsessively because to be seen as a woman and to be...
to get validation.
Yeah, to get that desire. And
a man's validation was needed at that time to make you feel like a whole woman.
Yeah, because that's what we've been taught our whole lives. But now it's like, I bring so much to the table, if someone can't... And I'm not talking about money or any of that. It's just the care that I bring needs to be matched. At least matched, if not one step further.
Don't take me for granted, like that's the case, right? Don't just...
I'm not a toy.
Yeah, you're not a toy, and just because I'm trans or queer or whatever, you're not doing any ehsan by dating me. This is your dating preference also.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is Ehsan thing was very weird.
Yeah,
my
and
friend
please,
told
some
me.
of these men, it's like, I am so out of your league. Like, you would be lucky
To have me, yeah.
if a woman that looked like me and like had my qualifications or whatever chose you. So they're like, oh, preferences. Whose preference are you?
Yeah.
Let's start
whose?
with that. Something that I've struggled with personally is when I go and meet people from the trans community. Sometimes I get a little, not hate, but I get a little bit of,
Trans community itself.
yeah.
Why? I thought you
Because-
guys are like cool together.
I mean, no community is perfect. That if you meet someone who's not been accepted by their families and who's had to sell their bodies for sex work their whole lives, and they see someone who's educated
Okay.
and who has comfort, and or even when I say, when they ask where do you live and I say where I live, there is that instant fuck you,
Insecurity.
yeah. And it's valid because I see where it's coming from. And so for me, that's been very humbling in the sense that I want huge things for myself also. I'm 100% sure, dude. And I was going to ask you also. But see, for me now, I know that my experience can't be extrapolated to the rest of the trans population directly because I have a lot of privilege. I have the gift of education. I have the fact that my parents didn't throw me out. And now there's, of course, acting and a bunch of other things happening, which I know that 99% of the community, unfortunately, cannot access.
They don't.
That even the bare minimum is a lot for the community because that is how far behind we are as a society. कि, literacy बड़ी चीज़ है.
हाँ, बेचारों को मतलब literacy नहीं मिलती थी, so the only thing that they had to resort to was prostitution.
Yeah.
I think things have changed
dude.
now, but
I think it's changing in very specific bubbles in urban cities only. Because, for me, I was born as the firstborn son in my family. I was supposed to be tagada and macho.
how many siblings you have?
One. My younger brother.
Okay.
So he's 4 years younger. And the both of us were raised by the same parents. And I was always very feminine, very flamboyant. And, in tier 2, tier 3 cities, it's far more shameful, right?
Yeah.
And that is the reason that so much of the community exists outside, our traditional family setup in our own hijra gharanas. Why? Because families don't accept that stuff.
They don't.
So that's the issue. It's fundamentally a gender binary thing. It's a patriarchy thing. And how it's different in bigger cities is we have exposure. We have exposure to social media, to TV, to, sex education to some extent. जहाँ gender roles इतने stringent शायद नहीं है.
But I want to know now that you have mentioned your family and that you were the first-born male child.
Yeah.
How did your family react? How did your relatives react?
I don't think parents realize कि बस बच्चा पैदा करना is not
I swear
parenthood.
I fucking say the same thing.
That if you don't know how to love a child that you have birthed, then don't do it.
Don't do it,
And it's
man.
hilarious कि trans लोगों को इतना मतलब ये मिलता है कि you can't have kids, you're not a real woman because you can't have a child. If I adopted a child, I would be a better mother than most mothers are to their transgender children. Because, at the end of the day, हम निकाले जाते हैं ना घर से. जिन्होंने पैदा किया वही, they're the ones who give you violence first. तो बच्चा पैदा करके तुमने क्या उखाड़ लिया? Are you a good parent? No. So parenthood is clearly so much more about nurturing and providing love and care.
Selflessly.
So for my parents, they were scared that, their child would get bullied, would get harassed, would get ostracized. So they tried to make me as masculine as possible. My dad hated the way I used to talk. I had a very high voice before puberty.
Okay.
बहुत sing songs था, बहुत so my dad used to sit with me and teach me कि नहीं ऐसे बात करते हैं, like a man, like talk like this. So he used to,
like a man.
whenever I would move my hands while talking, he would like slap my hands like to sort of like remind me not to do that. Just small things, and just the way that he was this anger management issues person yelling at people all the time. That was his idea of being masculine, and that was expected of me, that if someone was bullying me or teasing me, I was expected to be the bigger and the bigger and like
मार
just
घर पे तो कलेश मच गया होगा when you
बिल्कुल यार.
told them कि भाई मेरा हो गया है.
Yeah.
I am getting the surgery done.
Yeah.
This is...
वो तो बहुत दूर की बात थी. I feel like, the surgery comes so much later in the discussion. पहले coming out as a woman itself was something that happened in my third coming out. my first coming out to my parents was I like boys. Because
Okay,
हमको तो उतना ही पता होता है ना at that age.
You also didn't know much about it.
Yeah, कि gender dysphoria. This, I thought I was pagal. I thought I was literally nuts.
So your parents, like, when you told them you're gay, like,
That was the biggest dhakka to their system. Because that was their first dhakka. They were like, this is not possible. So that took them like a couple of years to make their peace with. By which time, doing the padhai and stuff, they realized ki, okay, gender, sexuality, this, that. So when I came out as a woman, it wasn't like
a big shock to them.
Such a big shock. It was like, okay, we kind of saw it coming, you know, with the whole cross-dressing thing since I was a child, with the calling myself a girl. They were like, acha, theek hai. And then the surgery in particular, that was mostly just fear. Because we don't want our daughter to get botched. You know, we don't want her to like lose sexual sensation for the rest of her life.
I'm sure your parents also, उनको नहीं था, उनके आसपास भी ऐसे कुछ था नहीं ना जिससे वो बेचारे एजुकेशन ले सकें.
I hear, yeah, absolutely. I tell them to this day, I was like, you know, it's not your fault. You were also raised by the same fucked up society. So, you know, when it comes to parents, you can't fully blame them for raising you a certain way, you know.
It is, you get stuck in a very weird position कि अभी सोसाइटी को ब्लेम करे, इनको बोले, बट हमें तो fucked up आपने बना दिया है. Now your family is like cool with it.
Yeah, now they're proud. Like
because
when you said
you
that,
have made that name for yourself. You're successful. You're doing so well for yourself. You're actually paving way for other people. You're an inspiration. I think you didn't have someone like you while growing up.
I didn't. I think I'm starting. I mean, this is such a, like, one show means nothing, yeah, Urfi.
You've done 2 shows. You know. Stop it.
Okay.
What one show? Okay, Amazon Prime, bro.
As an actor, I've done 1 show.
Like these characters in Bollywood movies, like Bobby Darling and all those, they were always made fun of.
Exactly.
They were always इन कैरेक्टर्स को लाते थे सिर्फ और सिर्फ मूवीज में मजाक उड़ाने के लिए.
They had a role to play, यार. I think that entertainment has a huge role to play in how we view masculinity and femininity and beauty and womanhood. Of course it matters. The people don't realize in a country as large as India, where Bollywood is the one respite for so much of the population to sort of like escape their lives and, you know, see this as something that's entertaining. Of course, people emulate their heroes. Of course, people emulate their heroines. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Bollywood में ही problem है. I was just telling you कि inclusivity का I feel कभी-कभी नाटक करते हैं. Why don't you give a transgender person a normal role as well?
Yeah.
Like I would love to see you in a normal role.
Yeah, I want to play a detective.
Transgender.
I want to play a cop. I want to play a detective. Not? I want to play a role जहाँ gender की बात ही नहीं होती है.
Exactly. Why not?
Exactly. So
I feel you are an actor.
Yeah.
And that should come first.
Yeah. And I think over time, I will also build the skills and the confidence to be able to say, ki, you know what, I want it. So when you're just starting out, you also, you know, I feel have to work on your skills and your craft, which I think is still happening for me. It's just the very beginning. I know I'm not Delulu. I mean, I am. With my love life, I am. But with my skills, I'm not Delulu in the sense I know that I have work to do and I'm doing it.
Do casting people approach you for normal roles, or all the roles that they approach you to audition is trans?
I would say that the word normal versus not normal is thoda misplaced.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense ki, am I approached for cis roles? Far,
yeah, cis roles.
So far, no. But that said, I will also say that, you know, a lot of the trans roles I've auditioned for this year have been very well written. And that's something that I'm still happy with.
Made in Heaven was really nicely written.
It was very nicely written. And even a couple of others that say were very different socio-economic background, all of that. But it wasn't written from the lens of like pity and sympathy. So people are now realizing that, you know, trans people are human beings with the same range of emotions as everybody else, and that needs to be incorporated in your storytelling also.
Well, the trans people have existed, but people are not used to seeing them above them.
Correct.
They are only
with
power. So people are only used to seeing them as beggars.
Correct.
So now that you're becoming something, you know, you're becoming better than them, they're like,
how dare she?
How dare she?
I think now we're starting to aspire and dream of having power. And it's not just dreams, but it's happening. And that scares the shit out of people. Men especially, my God. We were talking about dating. I feel like so many of the men in retrospect, I realized, were intimidated out of their minds. They couldn't handle the fact that someone was doing something with their life at a young age.
Are you close with anyone right now in the trans community, or
Oh, so many people. Ghazal Dhaliwal was my first inspiration, So she came on this show called Satyamev Jayate many years ago. I was like 14, 15, and she's a screenwriter. She writes beautifully.
Wow.
And she had shared her journey on that Amir Khan wala show, which is what gave me the validation to come out. Because I think that, for all of us, we need that one person to show us ki, life can be something worth living. And she was that person. I was like, my God, I want what she has. And not just the way she looked, but the fact that she had what seemed to me like a dignified life.
Dignified life.
That's what I wanted. I was like, this is it. But then when I walked into the hospital with that white coat, with that doctor title, the way people's, nazariya changed completely. And the way a patient would look at you differently with that stethoscope and white coat. It's like, wow, power. Nice.
Power changes everything.
Education and money. It's sad, but it's true.
Are non-binary people,
Yeah.
gay,
Okay.
how and what decides their dating life?
Okay, what's your sexual orientation?
Mine, I'm yet discovering.
Okay. So
I mean-
the thing is, gender and sexuality are different things. They're not related to each other.
Yeah.
I could be trans and still be into women, and I am. I think you're very sexy.
Oh
Urfi.
my God. Thank you.
No, I used to have a girlfriend in high school, and for the most part, I'm attracted to men. But there is a part of me that likes women also, dude. I mean,
I think
look at-
every girl does.
Yeah, women are so
Every girl
beautiful.
does,
It's
yeah.
ridiculous. But I know trans lesbian women. I know trans men who are gay. So
Trans men who are gay.
yeah.
Oh.
So like a female to male trans man who's into men.
Oh.
Yeah. So sexuality and gender are not like one thing determines the other, and just like, cis people or not trans people can have diverse sexual orientations. It's the same thing. And I know that non-binary as a concept is confusing, but
It's
yeah.
very confusing for people. It is.
No, but you know what's funny though? Our country has such a like the whole Hijra community is such a marked example of non-binary identity. They just don't call themselves non-binary. They call themselves Kinnar or Hijra or whatever. Those are also not binary identities. If you speak to many of them, they will say, no, I don't identify as a man or a woman. I'm a Hijra. And so we as a culture have had that in our system for so long. Ardhanarishwar is non-binary, for God's sake. The Hindu concept of Ardhanarishwar, which is half man, half woman, right? Which is, or even say, for example, I'm not a major mythology geek at all. These are just some examples that keep coming up. Or the avatar of Mohini, Vishnu taking the avatar. So,
Yeah, that I know.
है ना?
Vishnu taking Mohini avatar.
so non-binary identities, the word may be English and it may come from the West or whatever, but as a concept, culture mein hai, and people, I think are now starting to realize, which is why we have the Supreme Court judgment of 2014 that says that you can identify as a third gender, कि आप documents पे T लगा सकते हो. And I am very proud of India in that sense that, in the West, there is a lot of resistance ki fuck this, what is this?
Okay, so now that you've done like 2 shows like Made in Heaven, Rainbow Rishta,
Yeah.
one was a reality show. What's next for you?
I just wrapped another web series.
Really, which one?
Yeah, I can't talk about it. I know it sounds stupid, but like,
Achha, but who is it with? Like, what is it
I
with?
can't say anything.
Congratulations. So I hope you get lots and lots of work, and this web series does it. You will, man. You just have
Touch
to like chill out.
I think people just need to stick around. Just stick around no matter what, and something or the other will happen so long as you work your ass off and make it happen.
हाँ, but वही है कि opportunities और luck, as I said, luck की बात होती है यार.
I will fully say that I'm very fucking lucky. There are days I don't feel good about the things that I've had to deal with, but I am extremely fortunate, and I'm not gonna like lie about it or be all victim like, but my first home in this city has been beautiful to live in, which is not something
Bandra Meena?
Yes,
Yeah.
which is not something that a lot of my actor friends, for example, feel like just because you were born different than what society expects is normal. Don't fucking let that stop you. Use it. Make full use of that difference.
Use that.
Make it whatever you want to make it. Turn it into something beautiful. Use that difference and make it beautiful.
I think you should start like a makeup brand for trans people. What do you think?
I have thought about so many things. I want to start a sari brand, that is exclusively run by and modeled for by trans people, because I'm such a sari person.
Because the skin texture of trans people is different.
Yeah.
And like with the drag makeup and all.
Yeah.
I think it'll be amazing to have a brand which is
Dedicated to that?
Dedicated to that. Yeah.
Why not?
It'll be
One day when
fucking
I'm rich
amazing.
enough, maybe I'll make it
You
happen.
don't need paisa for makeup brand. Trust me, you don't. So someday.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I know for a fact that there will be one point where we'll be sitting across from each other and you will arrive in your private jet.
Oh my
It's
god.
I am manifesting private jet makeup brand. That's what we're manifesting.
Maybe next time when we are on a podcast, like,
Yeah.
you have your makeup brand and I have my
Private jet.
Private jet. You never
Bilkul.
know.
We'll make it happen. We'll manifest.
What are your goals?
I want to have done like 10 acting gigs in my life by the age of like 30, 35, where
I think
all
you'll
of
do
those
more,
roles,
man.
touch wood, where all of those roles are solid and written well. I want my own house in the city before I'm 30, 35, for sure. I would really like a luxury car.
हो जाएगा यार, हो जाएगा. That is my goal as well right now. I want a fucking luxury car.
Yeah. I'm not saying I want to get married or I want a happily ever after, but I think I would like to be in at least one sane, sorted, peaceful relationship jahan my nervous system feels calm.
Same.
Because I've only so far had the whirlwind romance and the highs and the lows and the roller coaster bullshit, which I don't want that fight or flight, response in my system anymore. That anxiety, which I'm so enticed by or was enticed by, I don't want that.
Okay, on that note, it was amazing having you, Trinetra.
Thanks
Loved
for
it.
having
We
me.
had some amazing.
This was wild. This is like no conversation I've ever had on a show. I love it.
Yeah, this is not like a regular podcast. This is a cool
This is
podcast.
Uorfi Javed.
Uncancellable with Uorfi.
Uncancellable.
Yeah.
Can we like hug across this thing?
Yeah. Oh my god.
ऐसा हो सकता है क्या?
Yeah. It is.
ये क्या hug था? We'll do a proper one.
We will. So, that's it for today. Uncancellable with Uorfi.